we've hit 2, so it's your time whenever you're ready.
Hello everyone. I started my speaking career here in 2022. I gave a talk called Honey Pot Boo Boo. Since then it's been debuted 11 times. I actually sunset it last year at Hacker Halted. I gave it to my friend Brian Nemezi because I started working on a major side project related to hotel security for Marriott. I had no idea what I was getting into, but the end result was there was a homeless guy who actually stayed here for 9 months, got a job in tech, and is now a homeowner. And I'm going to tell you everything about how that happened and all the crazy shenanigans and various ways of abusing security. And so this is what a hotel now is, helping a hopeless hooligan help the homie from homeless in 292 days. So the origins of this are actually pretty bleak. A lot of people think Bruce Willis and Die Hard had a bad day. I had a day that was 1,000 times worse. I got stuck in an elevator for 6 hours and 18 minutes, and nobody came. EMS, 911. Part of the issue was, oops, the video isn't working. Part of the issue was the place was called literally the hotel in College Park, Maryland. I'm calling them, where are you, the hotel? Where are you, the hotel? There was no service. It was absolutely unbelievable. The hotel actually tried to kick me out. They said, oh, blah, 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 blah. They couldn't take accountability. The next week, EMS calls me and they say, this was like the worst blunder in our history. You should sue them. You should take, I'm like, no, I'm gonna take the high road. I didn't know what that meant at the time, but I'm like, I'm gonna think of something and I'm gonna get them back. And these videos you can find on my playlist. And so what did I have in mind? Well, the high road is the road less taken. In my mind, I'm like, how can I get them back? I had a fascination with hotels because they're heavily resourced and poorly secured. They can solve a lot of problems. Homelessness should not be a thing in 2025. I'm sick of people not doing anything about it, so I'm like, I'm gonna take matters in my own hands. So what I decided to do is, actually came here March 14th, 2023. It was a cold day. I went out on the streets. I copied 37 key cards, gave them to homeless people. They converged on the second floor. I came back, the manager, the head of security, and 2 police officers showed up. We care about homelessness. No, you don't. You're virtue signaling. I don't care. I walked out. But buckshot didn't work. But this was just an experiment. So they kicked all the homeless people out, even though there were 76 vacant rooms that night. So shows how much they care. Yeah, that shit went down. My friend Cassandra was working at Starbucks. She didn't know me at the time. A year later, she's like, I totally know you. I was there that day. And so, yeah, like I said, people talk about homelessness. Governments want to approach it by throwing money at it. They're not thinking strategically about how to solve this problem. They're just like, well, let's just put money into it. It's not about the money, it's the message. Because the end result of this is this homeless guy left this hotel and he made $876.32. I'm going to tell you how. Literally, he stayed for free. So I had to refine my strategy. I got obsessed about hotels. I learned everything. I went and studied the outside patterns, the movement of the guards. I talked to people at the desk. I focused on College Park. There was only one hotel that I could still get into. It was the College Park Marriott, which was my first hotel, and I love it, and it's like a special place for me. This is where it all started. So I go and I meet the manager there, and I talk to him like, have you ever done any security testing? Like, have you seen if there's anybody that's being in your rooms for weeks, months at a time? He's like, what do you mean? Like, give me like 20 minutes, I'll meet you across the street at the Common Restaurant, and I'm gonna show you a video. So I go up to the 5th floor, there's 464 rooms in 2 different buildings. I talk to the maid, sweet talker, hey ma'am, I left my thing out there. Can you help me? I have this little gadget called a Proxmark 3. I hold it up, looks like a phone. She puts her key card up, in 3 seconds it clones it. She has what's known as a skeleton key. Gets you in every single room. She opens the door, there's no computer there. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I go to the 4th floor to the King Suite. Up to 5, 3, 2, 1. Takes me 11 minutes and 37 seconds. I show this video to this guy. He just literally says, oh my shit, I've never heard anything like that. You just can't believe it. I'm like, dude, I could have lived here forever and you never would have known. He's like, if somebody came into the room, I would be like, oh, sorry, my late checkout. I'd bounce around rooms. That's the problem with hotel security. These keys have persistent lifetime access, a lot of them. So if you get a maid key card, when they leave, it's good for whatever. This is what they're supposed to fix, but this hotel just recently fixed it. There's a lot of them that don't have that. So basically from there, I got contracted with them to do this as a POC, because the guy that sponsored it was like, I know someone very important here. If he sees this work, he will absolutely get funding, because I want to fix Marriott security. I've been here for 31 years. I'm like, you can't really fix security, but you can actually address different levels of security, because if you look at food, like a hotel, what it provides: food, bathing, grooming, phone connectivity, internet, computer, and an address. An address is needed for social services. This homeless guy was able to get Medicaid because he just used the address. I send shit to hotels all the time. I don't even buy anything, I just send whatever. I show up and it's there. You put 404, not found, get it? You always put that. You pre-manifest that you're staying in that room. And that's that simple. And then last year I hit 807 hotels. And one interesting theme is that as prestige goes up, security goes down. 4- and 5-star hotels have the worst security. They assume that you're not a threat, and then my crazy ass comes in running with fire extinguishers, and let me tell you more. That's actually going to be in the DEF CON talk, or besides Vegas. I got invited to do a Sky talk, and then I'm going to end this talk because shit's getting a little too fiery. But I didn't have a plan, right? Do I really die with a plan? No. So this was the moment here that happened. It was February 12th, 2024. The guy who hired me, he's like, all right, there's this political convention. See if you can get in there, but I'm going to give you a manifest of all these world diplomats that are staying there. See if you can enter the room. Simulate an assassination. What's the worst case? So now I get into the presidential suite because I found a key card on the maid's cart. It was that easy. I took it, cloned it, boom. 1576. I was there for 16 days and nobody knew. Presidential suite. That room was booked 23 days out of the year and cost $1,200. Nobody checked on me. I even came back from DC to Richmond 3 times. But then, February 17th, people start rolling in. There's 37 rooms. I have body cam footage. 2 of them, I walked in on someone, face to face. I'm just gonna say he was important in the last presidential campaign. Another guy was a UN envoy. He was in the bathroom, and I came in and pretended to be housekeeping, and I ran out. But just imagine, I could have killed those 2 people. I could have done any number of things. This is bad. This immediately goes to someone that this person knows that's very important. He calls me, holy shit, how do we fix this? I said, well, you can't really fix this. Here's the problem. Marriott has 9,000 properties, but they only manage 48. They're not in real estate anymore. They're in hospitality. They can't just say do security. They're just saying, here's a playbook. I'm like, I can tell you the playbook and do it. He's like, what do you want? I'm like, you know what? I want 3 things. I want lifetime ambassador elite status, because that takes 10 years, 23K a year, but you get 100% points, you get your feet kissed, all these different things. Then I say, I want 3 million points. The way Marriott points work is essentially 100 points is basically $1. I ran the math. If I do that much, I can get about 2 months of free nights. So I'm gonna run this pilot with this homeless guy. And I'm like, I want to put a homeless guy in a hotel. I'm thinking they're gonna shoot it down. Well, no, actually, it took them 12 days. Yeah, so March 13th, they make it happen. Ambassador Elite, awesome. I go down to Broad Street, I meet this guy, Earl Jones. He's a character, he has on a cowboy hat, like pink boots. I start talking to him, and I'm like, listening to his story. He's been homeless for 17 years. He's been in and out of government housing 8 times, and he said, it's easier to be on the streets, Mr. Justin. He's like, I prefer the streets. I'm like, that may be the case, but let me run this experiment by you. I've done the math, and I think that I can have you stay here for free. And I put him in there. He just can't believe it. So I launch him up to the 1806, the presidential suite. He's barely there, and even to this day, I'll see him wander around town. He's up there, and he said, every week I check on him, Mr. Justin, I don't know, man, you must be spending a lot of money. I'm literally not spending money because of this ambassador program, and I've been hacking points, and I'll get to that. So it's not costing me anything. Like, he's literally making me $3 a day by being in this hotel, all the while. So then I start talking to him, and I'm like, dude, what do you want? Well, before all that, I'm like, okay, I want to get to the underbelly. I become an official Marriott employee on April 29th. Why? Because I want to get access to the code base. I know for a fact that Bonvoy app has serious issues, and I found some issues that I won't be able to talk about until Vegas, but let me just say that there's some shady shit going on. But I was there for exactly 82 days, and then the CrowdStrike issue happened, if you guys remember, and I immediately left, because they're like, we need you to fix the endpoints. Nope, didn't sign up for that, see you. But I got what I needed. Within the first week, I had access to the code. I found exactly what I needed to find. And then this was time to be Redman with the Method Man, right? So I literally conducted a Redman campaign against, whoa, see, the globalists, no. I ran a campaign with both legitimate and illegitimate access. So illegitimately, I had 404. Another interesting feature about Marriott, if you book a room for 33 days, it completely falls out of the registration system. And so you can own that room forever. You can keep rebooking it. So I had 404. Whoops. Hello. 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 So I had 404 illegitimately, and I had 1806 for Earl. And I'm using 404 as a way to like move laterally. So I get in, I have to get initial access, which I have. Then I start to do enumeration. And then I start doing literally living off the land, eating all the food here. The M studio there, free food. 3 meals a day, it's awesome. Initial access, lateral movement, more free rooms, privilege escalation, get better rooms, live off the land. Persistence, I'm gonna show you some tricks. Pen trick, wedge trick, all kinds of trick. And then you gotta observe and report, and then you gotta educate and remediate. You gotta teach them. So, all probably know Recon, open source intelligence. You can learn a lot about a company before ever touching the network. Go on Spiderfoot, go on anything, crawl the internet, learn about who the people are. Anthony Capiano's the CEO, Rachel McDowell's his assistant, blah, 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 blah. And you can learn all this stuff. You can observe, you can just totally watch. This is what I did for months. I learned everything, I became obsessed. And then once you're in there, you want to start exploring. You want to walk around, see what rooms there are, see where people go, where you can be sketchy, where the cameras are. Cameras are never in the stairwells. They're hardly ever on the floors either. That's the thing. Security, hotels have this idea of a, perimeter-based model, crunchy exterior, but you Swiss cheese in the middle, no security. So, and then you gotta get initial access, like with the maids. It's usually as easy as talking to them, socially engineering. It's usually, or literally I've seen keys on carts, any number of things to get access. You can even legitimately get access and then start to scheme and scam the Bonvoy system. None of these videos are working, but this was basically me in the element in Philly. I'm in 2702, 2703 was completely open. The maid forgot to close it. Could have been another JW Marriott situation. You see it all the time. Then lateral movement, once you're here, start taking over. I had this wild idea, and I still might do it. Take over a hotel floor by floor. Start booking adjacent rooms with homeless people, strippers, whatever. Completely take over the floor. Then go next, then go next. Before they even know it, you overrun the hotel. That hasn't happened, but it may very well. And live off the land. So here's an interesting thing about Marriott. If you're a platinum member, which is 50 nights per year or above, titanium, you get to go to all their lounges. Sheraton, Renaissance here. Great food, booze. You really don't have to pay for anything. Earl literally had no idea how to spend money because he was literally draining on the economy. He saved every single dollar, after that, and I'll get to that. But he basically just ate here for free and saved an insane amount of money, I think $30K in 6 months. So, and then persistence, there's a lot of fun tricks, which you can watch the videos. One of them is called the pen trick. That's Freaky Clown. You put it in the door, you slam it breaks the pen, but it doesn't close properly. My favorite's the wedge trick. If you take that little card that says, "Don't bother me," and you stick it right where the door opens, it doesn't close. A lot of maids don't check, so you can just keep going back, in and out, in and out. There's a lot of other ways too. And then observe and report. So if you come to Vegas, you'll get to see the crazy stuff, like the Ritz-Carlton, trying to get initial access. Everyone's on guard. What do? I go and get a fire extinguisher and I run from floor to floor, because no one's gonna stop a guy with a fire extinguisher. And the maid lets me in. I destroyed a room that was 177 years old to this day, still being reupholstered. I thought I was gonna be fired. I sent it to the boss man. He's like, "Keep up the great work, kid." All right, I guess I'm here for life. And then obviously you want to fix these things, right? We want to see what the worst case scenario is. I'm one person. Imagine an Ocean's 8 style group of babes that comes in and cleans house. You could completely take over these hotels. So me as one person, if I can assassinate a politician, what if a Russian APT group comes through? How has this not happened already? Think about it. Maybe it has. And then, like I said, there's a whole video of me walking through the JW Marriott. Here's the issue with the JW Marriott. You walk in, you just punch in the floor you want, and it says go. No key card. It's like, you want to go to 15, top floor, elevator B. And I even have, like, on video, I'm talking to this lady, she's like, it's a very unique system. I'm like, it's a very bad system, you know? And I'm just talking to her for like a minute. And I'm like, no, you should use this thing called DesFire. There are some hotels where your key card, actually, you need a key card to get to a floor, but it's actually tied to your floor, right? That's great. However, physical security is really hard, because if you get physical access, you can completely override any digital controls. If you look at a hotel, it's really just a bunch of digital systems, other than like locks. Like it's literally like a network. You know, if you think about like cameras, like access control systems, it's digital, but it's physical. So yeah, watch that video. My name is, rest in peace, James Earl Jones. So let's talk a little bit about him. He had a crazy story. His mom passed away, that really set him off, and then the next day, his wife left him for his best friend, and then he had a job-related injury where he couldn't work, and so he lost his house. And I met him on March 13th, or March 14th actually, which is Pi Day, which is funny, which is actually a year after the day that I came here and did the buckshot thing, which is crazy. It wasn't planned, but it just worked out that way. And then we talked, he's like, what like compelled you to talk to me? I said, well, I could tell you're a character, and in fact, you're a critter. I'll talk to you more about that. When you can't describe people that you know, or you're just like, there's something about them, they're a critter. And so that's, so basically, Earl is, he wants, like after a couple weeks, I'm like, what do you want to do? And he's like, I really want to do what you do, Mr. Justin. I'm like, you know what, I can actually let's get you some interviews. We can fake your employment data. I'll even use this service called Cloaked, where I can spin up a bunch of LLCs. Yeah, this is Boyd Fowler, blah, blah, blah. Needless to say, and I'm in the same room with him. Imagine the Zoom call. Hey, what's this? I'm holding up cue cards. Because the guy's a genius, but he hasn't been in tech. So he slays the interview. He gets the panel. He gets a job on May 17th, making $60K a year after being homeless for 17 years. And he's like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, what do you want to do? He keeps following me around. He's like, dude, this is like Einstein's, E equals MC squared. He's like, all this energy here is leading to just like, I'm learning an insane amount in a short amount of time. I'm like, I have 2 speeds, fast and furious, let's go. And so I'm gonna tell you a little bit about Bonvoy without talking about the really bad stuff. There's some interesting features here. Well, for one thing, if you are titanium or platinum, if you book each night, you'll get 1,000 points. Don't book 7 in a row, night by night. There's also some really interesting features. Like if you book a hotel at the highest rate, like non-refundable, with a virtual card, they'll be like, oh, they'll call you, say $600. Then you book it down to say what's called the Explore rate for Marriott. The system will give you the points for the higher rate. It doesn't ever downgrade it. It just keeps it there. So if it's 600 points, it doesn't ever correct it. So that's a nice little feature. Then there's also the, you can exchange points. There's a really interesting hack where you can send Marriott points to United, to Hertz, and back, and it's 3 times. You just get 3x points. Why not? I mean, you know, just little things. Needless to say, when he left on December 30th, he had 876,520 points, equal to $876. He made $3 a day by staying in the hotel. It's not about the money, it's the message. This is a complete disruption of everything we think we know about housing. Nobody should be homeless in 2025. Nobody. It's unacceptable. Yeah, and 404 not found. I just think it's funny, free tech people. Because literally, even if you don't stay there, like I say, you just put it and they're like, oh, you must have stayed here previously. Like, literally, they're not gonna, they'll always hold your mail. And then there's like, here's an example of the Explore rate. Like if you're an employee or you have a friend that refers you. When I was in Prague, actually I debuted this talk at B-Sides Prague in April. And if you book it for that non-refundable rate at 555, it'll give you that many points as ambassador, which is 100%. So it'll give you 550,000 points as opposed to 16, you know, another feature, right? Which is funny. There's also, I'll touch on this a little. There are some hotels where you can book a room, not stay, and it still gives you points. You know, for whatever reason, Moxie, some of the chic hotels have this feature. So, you know, and I obsess about it, and I literally, like, when I go to a city, I will hit their API, I will book every single room. Like, I went to EDC Orlando last year, and I booked like 71 hotels, And like 3 of them gave me points, I didn't stay there. So why not? Let's go. So literally, there still is Ambassador Elite and Titanium. Ambassador Elite used to be 100% points, Titanium 75. However, because of me, Ambassador Elite's only 75% because they ran the numbers and what they determined that if I had done this again the exact same way, they would have broke even. I wouldn't have made money. For them, that's acceptable. It would have been $0 for him to stay here as opposed to losing $3 a day. So if you go in Ambassador Elite versus Titanium, there's still a couple more perks, but the whole points thing, 75% is the max. Go check it. Like, it's because of me. Oops, sorry. And then, like I said, you can convert points in all kinds of ways, like between different airlines, like you exchange Marriott points for Alaskan and back to like all these little tricks that you find ways and you get points, and next thing you know, you're getting more points. And also, there's like a lot of Marriott service accounts that have a bunch of points. You can transfer points to accounts one way and they don't even check. So there you go. But then look at this timeline for Earl. So he was homeless, in 2007. He moves in on Pi Day, receives a job offer, starts a new job. Then he got promoted in October. He's making $75K a year. He then starts looking for houses because I asked him around Thanksgiving, what do you want? He's like, Mr. Justin, I'd love to just like have people over sometime. I'm like, let's go. I also helped him build his credit with this thing called Chime. Like he had I didn't know what it meant to say that you have no credit until I met him. Like he didn't have an identity. Like it was there, but they didn't even see him as a human. Like we had to go get his SSN, his ID, so that he could be a tax-paying citizen. And then when he was like, okay, all of a sudden he matters to the government because he's paying taxes. But I went and I co-signed a loan for him, and he bought a house down the middle of the Turnpike. I won't say much more to protect his privacy. And the crazy thing is though, I see him all out all the time. He's like, I don't know about this home thing, man. I prefer the streets. He's like, I like a shower, and I like, like to have internet. He's like, I prefer the streets. So I see him all around town. Like he's a critter. He's nomadic like me. He's always on the go, and I love that. But he owns a house. And these videos here, you should go watch. It's basically, the tour of this place. He left on December 30th. It was very emotional for me. It still is, just to think like it was kind of eerie going up like crazy. Shoot. Well, I flew through that, but I just have to thank some people. Ariana Khan, she's amazing. Bree, I call them TTPs, Titanium Turbo Bay Princesses. So I'm crazy. But also some tools that are useful. Cloak, like I said, lets you make identities. Hack5 has a bunch of great physical tools. iCopyX, Keysi, I have one right here. This allows you to store like 4 different credentials everywhere you go, $50. A lot of you know about the Flipper Zero. And then there's a playlist, all kinds of other stuff. Like I have this hotel tips and tricks for like how to maximize your experience. Like when I come in, I create something called a shit pile. Rather than, I just launch everything into the corner and I find it later because it looks like you're organized. It's actually quicker. I don't know, like just hear me out. I've been at 807 hotels. Like, listen, I have some advice. So, and to this day, this story is so crazy. It's hard for me to believe, but it happened. So with that, I'll open it up for questions. This is exactly what happened in Prague. And then they started following me, trying to ask me questions.
It's so much to absorb that you were able to accomplish this much. It's amazing.
Thank you. I mean, look, one person, right? All it takes is one person to prove. It's going to make people like Elon Musk and Bill Gates look pretty stupid, right? For not doing more. And it's like, I think about it, it's like, if not me, then who? If not now, then when? I'm like, I have the ability to do it, I have to do something.
So, is Marriott the only chain that you exploit, or do you?
Yes, but I know that the other ones have issues too. In fact, there's this fun thing that I've been experimenting with rental cars, where I've been able to get rental cars. I've had a rental car for 109 days this year and haven't paid anything using Marriott points. That's all I'm going to say. I'll tell you more at DEF CON about how to do that. So everything's free. I think everything should be free at this point. I don't really think we should spend money. Resource-based economics, I believe a lot in it, so I'm just creating my own version of it. I also have, here's a funny thing, there are 17 cities now in the US where I have a 404 that are permanently established. So when friends and family, like you all come, you can stay there for free, you never have to check in, I send you the mobile key. So Philadelphia, DC, hit me up, seriously. Yeah, I get you there for free. Before they find out and they shut it down. But
What's our cell numbers I can hit you up there?
Oh yeah, I got my card. Yeah, I'll give you guys this. Seriously, no, I'm like, if we're not helping each other, what are we doing in this life, honestly?
How much change do you think that you have driven just by what you've done as far, I mean, how many times have you gone back and tried a method that doesn't work and then you have to shift?
You know, honestly, a lot of these hotels have not fixed jack shit, and they keep paying me to go back. Like, somewhat like, one thing that they did here, they used to have M14B cards, which are easily cloned. They upgraded to EV1, which just means that you have to intercept the, like, you have to sit between the card reader and then pass the hash, basically. So they just do basic things, and like I said, in Vegas, I'll tell you about a very, very big issue that they're not fixing for a particular reason. It's a lot, they just want to feel good. Like, so one thing that they fixed was, you used to be able to go into the account and book a room with somebody else's name under your account. Now you can't do that because they want to force you to like check in. But I had so many people just coming in like with their own names like on my account. Like, there's Lyft drivers, homeless people, whatever, Circus du Soleil, you name it. Like, I'm crazy, I don't care, I have nothing to lose.
So if, I've never done this from book in a hotel, but you can create like a key on your phone.
Yeah,
Do you
mobile
see-
key, yep.
Do you see them moving away, given this, and then like away from the physical card keys because of that to the phone? And then would you be able to hack that in a different way, I guess?
I think the mobile key is more secure, just like online voting would be more secure, because like there are levels of security, but the code's shit, you know? It's like you can share it with up to 3 people, but then you can keep it going indefinitely. Like the company's been around since 1928. They started as hot shops. The code base has been touched by over 22,000 people. There are issues, there are vulnerabilities that they're not gonna fix for one reason or another. It's just, when you become that big of a company, the tech debt's just insurmountable, you know? Anyone else? If not, check out my stuff. Follow me on TikTok, I'm just kidding, TikTok. Nothing else. Thank you all so much. That was so fun, yeah. Well, I guess it's the 30 minutes long. Oh, my friends. I love it. I love this shit, you know. But literally 30 minutes. I thought it was gonna be 50 minutes. But
Me too, yeah.